Welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping right into an absolutely fascinating and, frankly, pretty urgent concept from the core text Homo Conexus by Aldhar ibn Beju. We are standing right at the edge of a rapidly changing, totally unprecedented relationship with artificial intelligence, and this text gives us the exact vocabulary we need to actually understand it. We're moving way beyond that basic panic of, are robots going to take our jobs? We're looking at a much deeper, quieter transformation that is happening to our very society.
Take a second. Let that sink in. What happens when the machine no longer just obeys your commands, but actually shapes your thoughts? We are so used to this old mental model of AI as just a helpful piece of software waiting for us on our desktop. But what if it's already moving past that? What if it's becoming something we literally live inside? To understand this, we're going to cross the threshold into a totally new social form.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the age of coupling.
To really get this new age of coupling, we have to contrast our old metaphor with our new reality. On the left, we have the tool. Think of a hammer, a pen, or even early spreadsheet software, right? A tool waits for explicit commands. You pick it up, you use it, you put it down. It has absolutely zero independent agency. But on the right, we have our new reality, the environment. AI is shifting from a tool we use to a continuous environment we inhabit. It doesn't just sit there waiting for an instruction. It actively shapes the possibilities and choices available to you before you even formulate a complete thought. It suggests the next word in your email. It anticipates a medical diagnosis based on subtle symptom clusters, and it even filters out job applicants before human eyes ever see a resume. It's constantly participating in the very formation of your tasks, subtly guiding the direction of your work and, well, your life.
And this brings us to the core definition of our explainer, Homo Conexus, a human whose agency is distributed through interfaces, yet retains the right to return and refuse connection. I want to be super clear here. We are not talking about some biological sci-fi upgrade where we all get microchips implanted in our brains. No, this is a new, highly structured way of interacting with shared intelligence. You think with a system, you remember through it, and you make decisions with it. But, and this is a massive but, your dignity as a human depends entirely on your ability to unplug, refuse the connection, and return to yourself. So, if you and a machine are working together in this incredibly integrated environment, who is actually taking action?
Section 2. Meet the triadic person. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how cleanly it separates the three active parts of our new reality. Because when a human and an AI make a decision together, we have to break it down. First, you have the artificial kernel. This brings inference, massive scale, and pattern recognition. It is incredibly powerful, but it doesn't have a soul. Second, there's the synthesis kernel. This is that temporary working state, that unique spark that emerges when human intention meets machine processing. But look at the first column, the human kernel. This is where vulnerability and, most importantly, responsibility live. The human is the anchor because humans are the ones who actually suffer the consequences. If an AI assists a doctor with a misdiagnosis, the machine doesn't lose its medical license. The human doctor faces the malpractice suit. Humans lose their jobs, their reputations, or their health. Responsibility must sit purely with the human because a machine literally cannot feel the weight of its own actions. This framework is super helpful for an individual. But how deep does this integration really go? Let's zoom out and look at the macro-level stakes of AI across our entire society.
Section 3. How deep does it go?
This step-by-step breakdown shows exactly how AI evolves from a simple, handy tool into the very fabric of our lives. Step 1 is cognitive. This is assistance, a spelling suggestion, a writing prompt, maybe a quick translation. It feels totally harmless and super helpful. Step 2 is operative. Now the machine is actually shaping workflows. It's organizing your schedule, autonomously deciding what task you should do next, just to maximize your output. Step 3 is where it gets serious, structural. This is when our institutions, schools, hospitals, courts are built completely on AI infrastructures. You personally might not even choose to use AI, but the institution processes your life through it anyway, determining your credit score or your legal risk profile. And finally, step 4, ontological. This is where AI begins to shape our shared reality and meaning. Think about how algorithmic feeds shape our historical perspective, filtering the news we see and determining our political reality. It literally formats how we understand knowledge, truth, and each other. We aren't just using the system anymore. The system is defining the world we live in. And because this integration goes so incredibly deep, we urgently need safeguards.
Section 4, the right to exit. That brings us to the absolute most crucial safeguard of this new era. This quote from the text captures it perfectly. Freedom in the age of synthesis cannot mean only autonomy before connection. It must mean return from connection. Think about it. Having a formal delete account button means absolutely nothing if unplugging costs you your job, your dignity, or your access to society. If leaving the AI system means you suddenly become an administrative nightmare, entirely unemployable or socially invisible, well then, you were never really free. You were a captive.
So, what does a real exit actually look like? It's not just a personal consumer choice, it has to be a built-in infrastructure. It requires a technical exit, where your data is actually fully separated and deleted from the core model. But it also requires cognitive return, maintaining the ability to think critically without a machine completing your sentences or framing your arguments. Social return means society can't treat you as defective just because you choose to work analog. Economic return ensures you can still get a job and participate in public life without renting a premium AI agent just to keep up. And finally, mnemonic return means taking your memories, your preferences, and your personal traces back with you without being quietly tracked or surveilled by the system you just left behind. If we build these safeguards, what kind of society are we actually trying to create?
And this brilliantly illustrates our macro view. Section 5, Society as a Chorus. The text offers this incredible comparison. We basically have to choose between the swarm and the chorus. AI systems naturally want to create a swarm. They optimize for movement, efficiency, and statistical averages. A swarm moves beautifully as one solid block, but in doing so, it smoothly erases dissent. AI systems take complex human conflict and turn it into a polite, balanced paragraph that completely misses the raw emotional point. We don't want a swarm. We want a chorus. A chorus coordinates plurality. It allows for dissonance, for disagreement, and for minority voices to still be heard loud and clear. A healthy democracy actually needs the rough edges of human dissent, and we cannot let AI erase that necessary conflict just for the sake of frictionless efficiency. To preserve that chorus, we need an entirely new social contract. Let's move to and see how this builds our future. Section 6, New Rights for New Humans.
These are the first rights of the coupling era. We're talking about things like mental privacy to protect your unfinished, unpolished thoughts, and reality marking so we always know definitively what is simulated versus what is actually real. But I really want to highlight semantic fairness. Imagine a worker trying to complain to their boss about unfair, unsafe conditions. If they don't have access to an AI to polish their language, their email might sound angry, broken, or unpolished. Semantic fairness is the fundamental right to be understood without being forced into a dominant, machine-readable style. The system, and the human boss using that system, shouldn't ignore a valid complaint just because it lacks AI-generated fluency. To protect these rights, the text introduces Kromsalon. Now, it sounds a bit complex, but it's essentially an ongoing, continuous audit for our AI systems. It tests 5 key things: dignity, transparency, reversibility, responsibility, and poetic coherence, which simply means the system still makes human sense and values human expression. We have to continuously ask these questions and perform these checks so that the helpfulness and convenience of AI doesn't slowly, politely morph into captivity. It basically acts as an anti-corruption threshold to keep our connection to these machines honest and transparent. And that brings us to the final, lingering question we all absolutely have to ask ourselves as we navigate this new era. Are you using the machine, or is the machine formatting you? As artificial intelligence shifts from a simple tool into the very environment we inhabit, the true measure of our freedom will be our ability to step back, unplug, and remain entirely, unapologetically human. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking the tough questions, and I'll see you next time.